Welcome back for Regina Motor Products. On this Wednesday, Barney Shinkerick, Colson's here, Don Hewitt co-hosting, and we got another in the pit, in the cage studio now. Rob Vanstone, historian from the Saskatchewan Roughriders, is joining us, made his way down. I just thought it'd be a nice get-together. The three of us, the four of us.
Don and I's like, I think we're the two oldest radio guests in North America, right?
You know, Rob,
average age, look that up, Colson.
Rob likes me to hang around with him when it's possible, because when I'm there, Rob is the young guy.
Yeah.
He's the young pup. I remember him in high school on a bus with his mom.
Yeah, we used to go to Ryder Road games via Dash Tours, and
That's right.
Oh, Davey Ash.
so I remember I met Don in October of 1977. Went to Calgary, and the Riders lost 11-1. My first visit to McMahon Stadium. I heard Jay McNeil earlier in the show talking about McMahon Stadium, and I thought, not much different than it was in October 1977 when the Riders got the Rouge.
He talked about how it was built pretty quick back then. Like, was it
Lego projects that took more time to build than McMahon Stadium?
But was it nice? Was it kind of at its time? Was it an awesome stadium?
It's funny. When the Riders were in Calgary for a game October 13th of 2023, and I was with the team, and I went for a walk around the field level before the games. We get to the game so early as a team, and I started looking back to that infamous October 77 game. And I remember as soon as we got to McMahon Stadium for that 77 game, I thought a couple of things. Artificial turf, didn't see it very often. I'd only seen it once before in my life at the 76 Grey Cup. Artificial turf, it looked so weird to see that. Mm-hmm. And I was so old, the game it was actually played in black and white in front of us. And and there were no backs on the seats. We were sitting about the 10 or 20 yard line, and there were no backs on the seats.
I don't know if they're still.
And so
like
October 2023, I'm walking around McMahon Stadium, I kind of had a rough idea where we sat. And I looked, and there were still no backs on the seats.
Yeah.
What?
46 years later. Yeah. That part of the stadium is sort of toward like the 10 yard line, right?
It's like a college section at a college hockey game. It's you're just sitting. That's where, and I think it was the stadium in Berkeley where Cal plays. My wife, she was a trooper. She was like 4 months prego. And we got to go Oregon Ducks, Cal, take the train, get to the stadium. Little did I know, never been to Berkeley, California. It is a hoof uphill to this stadium. She's like, this is, you're asking a lot here for me. 4 months pregnant, going to this football game. So we get into the stadium, and it's the metal bench, just like a park, and then I see everybody's renting the clip-on back things. I'll be right back. I need to go get, and then they were all sold out. I think somehow I finagled one for her. I'm like, I'm toughing it out.
That 77 game that I was at, playing cornerback and returning punts and kickoffs for Rough Riders, was Paul Williams, who was from Berkeley, California. We lived in Berkeley, California during the off seasons at the time.
And ironically,
loved Paul Williams.
About 20 years ago, he called me at CTV. It's a long story where we did have film footage of him. I won't explain why.
Doing his dance?
Yes.
He did the great dance.
He was
Williams
the first
Wiggle.
one that I ever saw, Rob, do a touchdown dance. I mean, he had Paul Williams, I believe, was the first ever football player to do a dance after a touchdown, at least professionally. And then Tommy Riemann, if you want to go to Tommy Riemann, and sadly they've both passed away, he was the first football player in all of pro ball to wear a ball cap on the sidelines.
Yeah, and
which he did in Winnipeg. It just wasn't done. Yeah. Nobody wore a ball cap, Barney, on the sidelines. Tommy Riemann did it, I believe, in Winnipeg. Everyone was shocked.
Yeah, it was like
shocked.
He was known as Tommy the Hat Riemann. It was his debut with the Riders. He rushed for like 100 and some yards. The Riders were in Winnipeg, September 11th, 77. Right. And then the week after, Hamilton was in town, and Tommy Riemann rushed for 100 and some yards and 2 touchdowns, including a 61-yarder. And everybody was all excited about Tommy Riemann. Then the Riders went to Calgary, and that day didn't work out well for anybody.
But
it was a cool trip because I met Don Hewitt and Dave Ash and Jim McKenzie. And
you guys got to push that to the marketing team to get a Tommy Riemann hat in the pro shop.
It was crazy that was such a weird thing and insane that somebody would do, but nowadays. But the one thing I remember about when I met Rob in 1977 was how nice your mom was.
Yes, she was very nice, despite
The
being
nicest woman
having to put up with me for 13 years at that point.
You were 13 at the time.
Yeah, no,
Your
my
mother
mom
was just
beautiful.
a wonderful, wonderful woman. Yep.
We'll talk about a trip down memory lane.
Sorry for destroying your show, Barney. I mentioned
We're not even on.
Barney's still the host. I'm not. So Barney's the host. I'm not.
Were you alive in 1977, Barney?
July 2nd.
Oh,
July
okay.
2nd,
Yeah.
1977.
Right before the loss to Winnipeg.
He was like, what, a month old or something? When they went
Yeah.
It was negative
Lost to
20
Winnipeg,
for all
lost to
wondering.
BC, and Gaynor, the Gophers' debut was against BC in July of 1977, and you were in the costume, weren't you? You and Dave Ash that day?
I was in the costume, but you know what? Your memory has always been so much better than mine.
Better than
I didn't even
anyone's.
remember that it was BC till you just said it.
Yeah, it was 34-14 not for Saskatchewan.
See?
The man is a genius.
But then the Riders went to BC the next week and won. We'll figure that out.
Yes.
While we have you guys here, and I know
Sorry.
people have mentioned
That's okay.
have texted in on this before, but let's talk about this. First to you, Don, your favorite memory of the late Dave Ash.
Oh my goodness. I'm glad Don's going first because there's so many I could blast out.
My favorite memory of Dave Ash.
Well, you guys are thinking, I'll tell, because I had to work with him on the sales side here. It was Dash Tours,
Right.
and it was the deal we had. Once I kind of got to know him, 3, 4, 5 years in, and you become friends with Dave. Like you just do, right? That's the kind of guy he is. And then anytime he had some extra tickets, or hey, Barney, why don't you come? So when we went to the Grey Cup in Toronto, I was a last minute addition from the Harvard crew that went there. Downtown, Sheraton, and then Dave messages me. This is probably the Blackberries, and he's like, "Hey, you're in town. Remember, I have my sold out Grey Cup party at the top of the CN Tower. You're more than welcome to come."
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I've never been to the CN. I was thinking about maybe going to the CN Tower. Have never been. We go up. Dave Ash had this spread, and the Rider fan party. It was next level. It was so cool. It was so awesome. So that is my personal one. The other one is him with that Canada flag and then Sidney Crosby getting it somehow and going on the ice in Vancouver. Okay, so now I give you some time to think of yours.
I was invited to a function in the top of the CN Tower. I thought it was really nice and flattering. They took me up here and there, and they said, "Why don't you try the diving board?" So I'm sorry. There's another hour of these jokes.
Well, I used to live with Dave Ash, along with Wayne Mantica, the CTV
What a
news
posse.
reporter.
What a
The three of
legendary
us
domicile that was.
used to live together, and we were, all three of us called our condo that we lived in the monastery, because there was never a woman to be seen with the three of us. We were all losers with women at the time. Couldn't get a date, none of us. And we were just like monks. We might as well have been
play
Baptist
cards?
monks.
Just played cards?
Well, I don't even know if we did anything that exciting.
Did you at least buy a female hamster or something?
It was a sad sad monastery. Antica, Hewitt, Nash. Yeah, it was a sad.
Over to you. You probably have a book full.
There's so many. My dad died June 1st, 82, and that year Dave founded the Fabulous 50 fan club, and a group of 50 fans would go on the Riders plane to every road game, and because there really wasn't much sense taking a plane to a home game. Nice articulation, Rob. And and so the Riders' final regular season game that year, or regular season road game that year, was in Toronto, and Dave phoned Mom and asked if she'd like to go on the trip, and she explained, well, Alan died and we're kind of short of money, and Dave said, no, it's my treat, and flew Mom to Toronto for the game free of charge. And the next year, Dash Tours did a concert trip. I think it was to Edmonton for Neil Diamond. Phone rings, Dave Ash, free trip to Neil Diamond.
Yeah.
So those are the fond memories. Don and I were on this trip.
Really
October 29th,
amazing,
1978, the Riders went to Edmonton. Ron Lancaster's last game, won 36-26.
Remember that.
And we were there via Dash Tours. And that was like my favorite game of all games I've ever watched to be at.
And that was so historic.
That was
now that we look at
perfect.
it. And I remember Dave Ash had that little tinfoil Grey Cup. Remember that?
Yep.
And I was holding this tinfoil Grey Cup outside of the bus as everybody was going on it. I don't know if you remember this. And I got sucker punched by some Eskimo fan. And went all the way home in Regina holding my nose.
That game, for the uninitiated, I mean, Ronnie...
To the monastery.
I went to the monastery with a very bloody nose.
Ronnie didn't start that game. Larry Dick was the heir apparent at quarterback, and Walt Pozadowski was the head coach at the time, started Larry Dick to just get him some snaps. But it was Ronnie's last regular season game, and it was a packed Commonwealth Stadium. And there were signs that Edmonton fans took to the game thanking Ronnie.
Edmonton fans.
Fans. And they started chanting, "We want Ronnie." And of course, there was a pocket of us in the end zone seats joining in or perhaps initiating it. But it was the Edmonton fans, by and large, who were clamoring to see Ronnie.
Wasn't
so
that
Ronnie
crazy?
comes off the bench.
That was amazing.
And throws a touchdown pass to Joey Walters. Bob McAreedy adds the convert. Edmonton fumbles. Jim Germany fumbles. Ronnie comes back on. Completion to Brian O'Hara, and then sneaks in for the winning touch for an insurance touchdown himself. His last game, and it's in Edmonton, and he's getting a standing ovation from the home fans who just watched their team lose.
Packed.
That will never happen again in sports.
Yeah.
And Walt Pozadowski not starting Ronnie in his last game.
Yeah, or the week
that was a head scratcher.
Beforehand, Winnipeg was here, and Larry Dick had started that game as well. They just thought, okay, Ronnie's retiring. They've signed this highly touted rookie out of Maryland named Larry Dick. Let's see him play. And there really wasn't much objection at the time. But the way it turned out with Ronnie coming off the bench, it was just magic. It was I just can't imagine an sporting event having that much in it.
Yeah.
And in that game, I mean, to see it live especially, Ronnie couldn't have thrown the ball better.
Oh.
I mean, pinpoint accuracy. Like, he was not going to go out losing a football game.
No.
And he certainly didn't.
And as he came onto the field, Larry Highbaugh, who was an Eskimo cornerback at the time, shook hands with him. While Ronnie was on his way to the huddle, and after the game, somebody asked Ronnie about it and said, well, he should have shook my hand. With all the interceptions I've thrown to him, he's going to the Hall of Fame. Sure enough, he made it.
He was one of the funniest people, wasn't he?
That trip. And I remember the next year we went to Montreal via Dash Tours for the Grey Cup, and Don was on that trip. And the first time I ever saw the Montreal Canadiens play, Mom and I and Dave Ash walked toward the Montreal Forum, and standing outside the Montreal Forum before the game, George Reed. And then we walk in and see the Habs beat the Bruins 3-1.
Can you believe this memory?
What a trip that was.
Unreal.
An encyclopedia. And I just want to give Rob a shout out if I can. The outstanding job he does writing for the Roughrider organization.
Oh,
I mean, there's not a professional football team in North America that covers the history and the detail of their franchise like the Roughriders do, with Rob being a huge part of that. And Craig Reynolds had an epiphany of brilliance the day he hired Rob Vanstone to do the job that you do.
Did you have to interview?
I sent Craig an email, and we had coffee, and then I had a formal interview with Ariel Zur and Anthony Partapillo. Ariel's the director of communications. Anthony was the chief brand officer, and it was basically the moment I had a bunch of things written down I wanted to ask about, and I never even got to them because they brought them all up in the conversation. It just felt perfect.
Yeah.
And I felt like after the interview, Ariel just looked at me and smiled. I was in a daze.
Under 20 stories that you told in that interview.
It didn't even feel like an interview. We just kind of sat back and chatted, and before you know it, it was over, and they were thinking, don't hire this guy.
Okay.
You were made.
But I work cheap.
You were made for this job that you have right now.
I would concur on that.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Well, somebody once told me, said, Rob, you're the best writer in the country.
Yes.
And I said,
I'd agree.
Thank you. And they said, unfortunately, you're not very good in the city.
Jeez. Here it is.
I was sitting on that one.
Slapstick comedy at its best here, 421 on a Wednesday afternoon. Rob Vanstone, Don Hewitt. We'll take a quick break. We're going to come back. We are going to talk about tailgating. It's coming to Saskatchewan, 936-6262. If you have any thoughts, are you going into the lottery? Let us know on the Prairie Land Rentals text line. It is a SportsCage streaming through our YouTube channel at sportscage.com. Welcome back on Wednesday for Regina Motor Products. They got the winter tire sale on until March 31st. Even if it's for next year, you can get winter tires at cost at Regina Motor Products. Prairie Land Rentals text line 936-6262. In studio, joining us, Rob Vanstone, and I got Don Hewitt here. Now, we've been reminiscing, fellas, about a number of things, learning a lot of different sucker punches and places and roommates and all that, but tailgating is coming to Saskatchewan. I've been one of the, I guess, shout from the rooftops on why don't we have this? Like, it just makes no sense. And then the government is the reason, and there's still a lot of legalities and legislations and whatnot that have to go through with Saskatchewan liquor and gaming. First off, do you guys remember, because you're going back to the 70s and 77, do you remember ever tailgating in Saskatchewan way back when, of any kind?
I remember Mom lighting a cigarette in the car while we waited for traffic to disperse.
You know, they used to have, I mean, they still do. I guess this is different. There's sort of a team run events and still going on. Just sort of like a semi tailgating, but I like this version of it much better in the sense that it gives tailgaters their own freedoms to tailgate as they see fit. They can bring their own barbecues, make their own food, bring their own tubs of beer, whatever they want to do. They can do their thing, whatever their thing is. And we'll see lots of creativity, lots of different things.
For sure.
And some really good food, which is great. I mean, and then everybody can sort of, there's no, fences or anything. People can walk up, talk to people tailgating, have great times gabbing away and chatting.
I can't wait to see, because I'm predicting that this has been such a long time coming. And there are so many creative / passionate rider fans that have been waiting for this. Maybe they've been kind of doing it in their backyards or wherever else. Now they can do it there. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people out there listening, you've been to college games, you've been to NFL games, maybe it's other CFL games where there is tailgating. And then, there are a lot of people that love to take it to another level. But it is such a welcoming, hospitable, for the most part, event. And then I saw the price. And for $500 for the year, I'm like, well, that is dirt cheap. I don't even know what a parking spot nowadays at most stadiums is.
And you get two of them.
You get two of them. You
right?
get something to park, and then you have your area to tailgate. There will only be so many, from what I understand. You're in the office, do you know, and I suspect they're looking at it being outside of Mosaic. They're kind of is that south of the Brandt Center? Is that where we're thinking?
I'm not even sure.
Yeah.
Here I am providing invaluable information. I'm not even certain exactly where it will be.
Yeah, okay.
I haven't really dug into that from a story standpoint yet. It's going to be an appetizing story as it progresses. I mean, there'll be days I'll have a story written before the game, because I think the tailgating itself will be just a wonderful experience for people. I've dabbled in it a bit before a Green Bay Packer game. John Ryan's first game in the NFL. Mm-hmm. I covered that for the Regina Leader Post, and the tailgating was Jason Nicurity and I went and had a wonderful time and ate 98 bratwursts. I had 97 of them, and we were actually kind of, do we have to go to the game? Like the tailgating was so much fun. And then we went to the game and the Packers lost 29-0. And I just wish we could have kept tailgating.
Yeah.
I mean, it was amazing. I went to a game at the University of Montana in 2015, and the tailgating there was just ridiculous. Even last year in Winnipeg before the Labor Day rematch. And that was a ton of fun. They have sort of an unofficial tailgate section there, and that was a gas. I can't imagine what it's going to be like here.
Mm-hmm. I know I talked to a few friends down south, and one's a Arizona Cardinals season ticket holder, and he said that's roughly what he thinks he pays. It's attached to his season tickets, but he is a ways from the stadium where his lot and his tailgate is, and I've been there. As you get closer, it's quite a bit more expensive. Been to Foxborough, really spread out at Gillette. And it's really less regulated down there. I think Dallas, outside Cowboy Stadium, was one. Mind you, the weather was nice out there, but there was some interesting and the trailers with the backs that open up and the RVs and that. I'm really curious to see what we get here. So I'm thinking it's just a parking spot and another parking spot. So enough room. And I'm sure there's going to be some sort of regulations on sizes of vehicles. That's all coming down the pike. But it is such a, like I said, a hospitable thing where it's going to be, you're going to be, hey, come by my tailgate. Come by my tailgate. Absolutely. There's going to be guys and girls that bring people to come by. And then if it's a chance, like, when you get people that like to cook for other people, like my wife loves to cook for other people, that's what I find tailgating is all about, is people that love hosting other people. And you talk about the bratwurst. Yes. I'm thinking we're going to see some pretty cool, I don't know if the deep fryers, the smokers, the barbecues.
And that's Saskatchewan culture too, because if you go down to a place like, say, Oklahoma, they have these giant sort of barbecue contests, competitions, I guess. And I remember doing some work with CJ Katz back in some cooking show days at CTV and in Texas as well. And it was surprising how many people from Saskatchewan with these big trucks and these giant barbecues and smokers and cookers and whatnot went down to compete down to the U.S. It's really sort of, if you go right down the center of the continent, barbecue is in Saskatchewan's culture too. It's a lot of people maybe don't realize that, but we're barbecuers here, darn it.
Well, now I'm hungry.
What are you looking forward to? Like you say, I'm sure you're going to write some pieces about it. You're going to be out there mingling. What are you looking forward to seeing?
The characters.
Yeah,
just that story. You think you've seen? I mean, I've been following the team since the early '70s and early 1870s, and. You think you've written every rider angle that there is to write, but I'm almost 62 years old. I've never written about rider tailgating. I think that is going to be so cool that first time. And there's no precedent for it. We don't know what it's going to be like. I remember just being wowed by it in Green Bay almost 20 years ago. What's it going to look like here?
Well, what's Pinto Bill? He's in Buffalo. Is it Pinto Bill? He's the famous guy that stands up and then crashes through a bunch of tables before Bills games.
Well,
I think his name's Pinto Bill.
I thought that was you and your Friday night parties at your house.
Not at the monastery. Nothing was happening there. But I mean, you're exactly right. Like, who will be the characters that will evolve out of this?
You'll Hewitt.
No.
Polish up your 73 El Camino. Get your spot. And you can be the convivial host of
Al Camino.
Well, we were talking about the aging process earlier. I'll be an observer now. But
get a couple of lawn chairs for Don and I. We'll see what Barney's doing.
Well, I look forward to the characters like you talked about that you'll probably write about. And
there's some guys, some families, or some guys and girls, they're going to roll in. I can see it. The big barbecues that you tow behind a vehicle and they're going to set up. And then, the next door neighbor maybe they're going to have the TV, and then they're going to, converse and be like, okay, well, next week I'll bring this, I'll bring that. And then the different cocktail, full disclosure, right, it was bad. September, right after things opened up again, I took my son after COVID to get season opener in Foxborough. It was great, and we tailgated. I was like, okay, whatever. I remember getting a cocktail made, and then I'm already a few deep, but he's having fun. He's playing beer pong. He's not drinking. He's like 11. But we're having a great father-son trip. I've had a cup, and then I start drinking, and I'm like, I think that guy just made the drink and grabbed the ice with his hands. And because we were very cautious for those 2 years.
That was cold.
And I'm like, yeah, that's what I mean. And I'm like, okay. Anyway, we let it slide. We let it go. We got our test when we got there. So then we got to come back across the border. We were all good. Well, we get home and I am very tired.
Oh, no.
I am exhausted. So the missus makes me take a COVID test. So the boy and I are back. This is when you still had to stay in home for a month if you had it, or whatever crazy rule that was. I take this test. I'm passed out. She goes, looks at it. It was the loudest door slam I've ever heard. Roman thought he had a month off. He had his Xbox, and he was good. But it all stemmed around, I think, the tailgating and me being an irresponsible parent / tailgater.
It was your fault the guy used his hand for your ice.
It was just so second nature, and then I remember drinking it and going, I'm like, what are the odds? It's not. Come on, it could have been from anywhere too. But the subways, the basketball game, the hockey game, who knows? But yeah, that tailgate, that will be the memory, tailgating for me and my son in my brain. And then it's going to be exclusive, and I know some people were talking about the lottery and then pay. Well, it's a lot like when you have a concert that rolls into town, or a major sporting event. There's usually some sort of, like the World Juniors, they're doing it in Alberta this year. It's the ticket lottery, and then you get picked, and then you get to buy tickets. It's nothing new for us. I know some people are like, why are they calling it a lottery if they got to pay? Well, that's usually how things work with us. It's going to be super exclusive, and it's for season ticket members only. I think that's the best way to go about it, early. And we're going to have people, because it's so selective, the next year there should be more of a spin-off. Or what do you think? How do you think it's going to work in Sasky?
I look at the Labor Day Classic, and what the Labor Day Classic is the Roughriders are in our culture here, obviously, part of our culture. It's a gathering place for families. Sometimes, I know individuals, they say, well, I see my kids twice a year who live in BC or the U.S. or whoever, Ontario, wherever they're from. I see them twice a year, Labor Day Classic and Christmas. So the tailgating is all part of a gathering place, which, we go to as Saskies and enjoy each other's company. It's more than a football game, don't you think, Rob?
Yeah, and I go back to last year in Winnipeg. Amelie, Ariel's communications assistant with the Roughriders, and I are walking toward the tailgating near the stadium, and this golf cart comes up, a couple of people dressed in predominantly Bomber colors, and we were advised the Bomber team store is back there if you want a reverse course, and there's also a jersey exchange program, and those words were uttered to us very jokingly by Wade Miller, president and CEO of the Bombers. We had an absolute roar. That was just so funny. He was just so good-natured and about it. It just added to the day. And then we had I met a bunch of cool people, many of whom were Saskatchewan expatriates before the game. And then the Riders won 21-13.
No, it's gonna bonus. It's gonna be. Hey, I know a guy. He's got a tailgate. Let's go to my buddy's tailgate, and it's gonna be pretty special. Luke on the text line here, or sorry, Tony on the text line here is looking forward to it as well. Let's go to break. Come back. Clutch Performer. I want to talk some hockey with you guys as well. When we come back. It is a Sports Cage on the home of the Riders, 620 CKRM. All right, Clutch Performer. He didn't get to play in the gold medal game, unfortunately. Sidney Crosby released today. He's out, lower body injury. And then he spoke to the media about Gudas, and I think part of it is if he thinks he's going to get a call from him. What a guy, what a class act. Here's Sidney Crosby.
Did you hear from Gudas at all after the injury?
I didn't know. I don't have a problem with the play. I think he was trying to be physical and step up and play hard as any defenseman would, and it just went the wrong way as far as, on my end of it. But I don't think he should feel the need to reach out or anything like that. It's hockey, and that stuff happens. And unfortunately, it's one of those.
The one thing you said when we played that earlier, Don, was class act. Oh,
of course, Sidney Crosby is. I wonder, had that injury not occurred, had Sidney been playing in the gold medal game, would Canada have won that game? And it was so close, and if there was a little edge that maybe could have tipped that game's balance over to the gold medal winning it in regulation, it could have been Sidney Crosby. And the reason I say that is multi reasons. One, though, is his hand-eye and coordination is so good, and that ice surface was small for those players. First 3 feet shorter, they were so condensed, and he's the type of guy that can do these really quick little things with the puck so well. How about you, Rob? Would they have won the gold medal if Crosby was
playing? Josh Morrissey too, the Jets fan.
Right. No, they missed him.
But I mean, it balances out. I mean, Quinn Hughes didn't play in the Four Nations Cup and things like that. I mean, I wrote about it on Riderville.com on Monday. Sometimes that's what you sign up for as a sports fan, and sometimes I'm going to play spoiler here. If anybody hasn't seen Rocky 1 and wants to see Rocky 1, plug your ears now. What made Rocky 1 such a great movie, aside from the fact that it was a great movie? Rocky didn't win. And you go to a movie most of the time, you kind of know that somehow the chances are the plot is going to end up with the outcome you were hoping for. But I thought Rocky 1 was really good because it didn't necessarily turn out that way.
Was it a draw?
It was he lost, and then in the next 48 Rocky fights he won. But
no, I'm trying to remember now.
He lost
to Apollo.
Yeah.
And then then he gives him another.
Formerly Carl Weathers of the BC Lions.
That's right.
Then he gives him another shot in Rocky 2,
3, 4, 5, 48, 49, 63. But I remember just being so shocked that Rocky didn't win. I went to the Capitol Theater downtown Regina, and I expected this outcome because that's how Hollywood is. And most of the time, you're going to get the happy ending. Sports doesn't always give you the happy ending, and it's tough on days like Saturday. But you know what if Canada wins in 2030, it's going to feel even better because we remember how we felt in 2026. Riders won a Grey Cup in 2013. We remember how we felt in 2009. Because you go through those tough ones, when you do win, all that experience makes it even better.
Oh, it does.
At the time.
For sure.
And so that's how I kind of look. There's no guarantees with sports. You don't necessarily get that fairy tale ending every time. But that adds to the tension, that adds to the intrigue, it adds to the excitement when it does turn out that way. So, boy, it was tough on Sunday. But as I think about it.
Very tough.
Such a good game.
That's part of what we love about sports.
Yeah.
You just don't know.
So I say this to you because I talked about this yesterday too, and I think that Sydney probably helps or whatever, but we were so deep. Like so were the Americans. We had such a good team. That game that we lose, the gold medal game, that's probably our best game of the tournament.
Oh.
And we lose.
I mean, against Czechia against Finland, they didn't play half as well as they did in the gold medal game, right?
Like, that's what I go back to. And I'm like, so then we go back to, if that doesn't happen and Sydney plays, there's so many different things that if that doesn't happen, does Czechia maybe somehow get a bounce and things change that way? We still played good. We were still very, very... We come out of the gate with that first game, and I was like, see, I told you, like, no one's going to touch us. Like, this team's too good. And I'm not the big rah-rah. I was just like, how are you going to match up any kind of line against 4? Like Nick Suzuki. And I was, the one game where he tips it in, a little bit of Nostradamus, said to my son, or my daughter, I was like, that Suzuki's going to do something. He just kind of, and then like that was a major league tip and how it happened. We were so deep and so good. But then we ran in to your Winnipeg Jets guy, Connor
now
Hellebuyck.
Getting their presidential medal of
freedom.
And when you think about it though, like he's had
honor.
He played good in the Four Nations, Hellebuyck, but he's had a rough ride in getting it done when it matters.
well, the last 3 playoffs, his save percentage has been below 900. He had a couple of shutouts in the playoffs last year too, but sometimes you just get that guy on that game, and he's a multiple Vezina Trophy winner for a reason. And again, I started thinking about that, and I thought, okay, how many times, especially in the early years of the World Juniors, when Canada won, it was often because a goaltender was absolutely insane. How many goalie-powered World Junior Championships has Canada won? Sometimes you get John, you remember the New Year's Eve game between the Russians and Canadians in 1975, and the shots on goal were like so lopsided in favor of the Canadians. It was a 3-3 game, and Vladislav Tretiak was unbelievable. And that's kind of
right.
That reminded me a bit of Sunday. I mean, the Canadians were so much better than the Russians New Year's Eve 75, but that goaltender, and the goaltender's on the team too.
You just wonder about some things they're meant to be, and maybe they aren't meant to be, not only in sports, but maybe in life in different areas. And it's at the end of that game, it's almost like that just wasn't meant to be in some way or another. Like Hellebuck throws his stick behind him. He catches the puck. It looks like it's going into an open net. Good instinct by him. Also lucky on the other side. The first goal that the U.S. scored, the puck was bouncing all over the place. I wasn't convinced the ice was in very good shape the way the puck bounced through that whole game anyway.
The ice sure wasn't in good shape in Foxborough, Barney.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Barehanded.
Sorry for interrupting.
You just wonder about sometimes it's just not meant to be.
And
somehow above our comprehensions or understanding.
You talk about the bounces and how it's going to be, replayed and the Nathan McKinnon missing the open net and all. But then I thought about Vancouver, and I think about every time we see that goal or that picture of that goal, mostly the video of when Crosby comes out of the corner on Ryan Miller. And I always think about it from the other side. I'm like, what if he doesn't poke check there? Like if Miller doesn't suspect that he could poke it from Sid, which is probably, I'm not a goalie, but that's the right play because Sid comes out, it's a quick play. But if he just goes down butterfly, Sid's shot's not that great there. It's when the poke check comes out, then there's no stick there to take it. So then there's another bounce, right? How about that save that Binnington makes early in the overtime?
Oh my goodness, it could have ended right there.
Yeah, like it's and then I had to talk to my daughter because she brings up, she's like, see, did you see this clip? Watch how McDavid isn't back checking hard and Makar isn't. I said, you can't. I said, it's moving fast. It's 3-on-3. Positionally, they're in a decent spot there. It's just that McKinnon kind of has, it looks like a bit of a hesitation on pinching up to take that puck. And then it's all happenstance, how it happened. You can't go back. They're the best players in the world. The only thing I wonder, and I don't think they will, I'll pose this to, do they look at maybe something different than 3-on-3 for
they're not going
the
to.
gold medal game?
The IOC just said the other day or yesterday that no, they are going to be sticking to this 3-on-3 format, going ahead to 2030. But I mean, as John Cooper said after the game, 3-on-3 is not real hockey. It's not really the game of hockey. They don't do it in any of the NHL playoffs or the Stanley Cup final, obviously. So why would you do it for gold medal, which I said earlier in the show I believe is bigger than the Stanley Cup? It doesn't really make any sense. But on the other hand, the other team had the same rules as we did, and they won. And I mean, we won 2 major overtime games in 2010, and the Four Nations before that, it was their turn.
I remember thinking too, as it goes to 3-on-3, I'm salivating. And not to disparage the talent on the American team. We got McDavid, we got McKinnon, we got Makar, and it's 3-on-3. Advantage Canada. Like, you put anybody else in the world against those 3. Those are the 3 guys you want. And so I would have rather seen 5-on-5, 4-on-4, sure. But if Canada won 3-on-3, I sure wouldn't be complaining. I was actually salivating at the spectacle. Oh boy, McDavid 3-on-3. This is going to be great.
What's the other thing you'll take from this Olympics and that you'll remember? What's the one thing?
The female women's hockey final. What it sounds a little preposterous to refer to Canada as an underdog in anything, but the way that series, those meetings with the States have evolved in recent years. I mean, the States was such a huge favorite. They'd won pretty handily earlier in the tournament, and Canada's hanging in there. They're up 1-0 late. And it's just, I wanted to see that one happen.
Yeah.
What a story that would have been. The other one, Mark McMorris finishing 8th, and he wasn't able to compete in Big Air. How amazing is it that in that space of time, he was able to recover to the point where he was able to compete?
Yeah,
that
quite a serious concussion.
That absolutely stuns me. And a couple of at a previous Olympics, he was injured and came back and won a medal. The things he's been able to do despite the misfortune, to get an 8th place finish, to even compete in that event, to me, speaks so highly of him. And I think about the Olympic ideal.
What about you?
Right.
What are you taking away from him?
I'd say 2 things. I think for me, the biggest thrill was the gold medal curling game. And you're going to talk very shortly to Ben Hebert. I think with the way that the world is going, the way things are happening, the importance of something like the Olympics came to the forefront, that the world needs something like the Olympics to bring us together in one way or another. I thought the IOC completely dropped the ball with the Ukrainian luger, who had that helmet honoring some friends of his who had died in the Ukrainian-Russian conflict. I thought the IOC stunk the joint out on that particular call, because I don't think it was a political statement. I think instead it was just remembering and honoring his friends. But outside of that, I just thought the Olympics are a good thing. They're a very good thing. Thank goodness the world had a little bit of a break from what's going on and brought us together.
And it's great to watch live sports at 3 a.m. As a night owl, I'm all for that.
Yeah.
You know what we need now? What we really need? And I think female or male, hopefully both, we need a Canada-US flag football final in Los Angeles. We need both teams to qualify, and then that's what we need.
And these other countries are practicing so much in this flag football sport. Apparently, there's like the Italians.
Oh, they're on
have a great
You can go and watch
team.
YouTube. Trust me, I have. I get plays from. You can go and watch the Mexicans, the Italians. Watch how different the Japanese play.
Is that right?
It's crazy. Rob, thanks so much for coming in.
Oh, sorry. Thank you for having me. Sorry for the tacky jokes. I'm wearing the Pats hat because I'm going to the Pats game tonight. I got my Rider garb on.
I know we were supposed to talk some Pats. Isn't it exciting right now?
Pats are playing pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, especially last week, Edmonton comes in here, and Edmonton's such a tremendous team this year, and the Pats beat them pretty handily. It's not an easy test tonight against Prince George. Don't only get to see them once every 2 years, so looking forward to that. I'm a Pat season ticket holder, and I love just local sports in the city. I'm glad I can partake in it in this avenue as well.
Maybe in a couple of weeks we roundtable and then we get ready for we talk more WHL and the playoffs, because you're going to go too. Are you going to the Pats game?
I might. I think that having Rob on a round table. I know he gets really busy during.
He's probably got some sort of joke about.
But I think let's give Barney kudos for the idea of bringing Rob in today and having an absolutely scintillating hour of sports talk radio.
You guys are more than welcome to come whenever.
That maybe didn't wow the listeners.
Here too. Is it catered?
Yeah, Sharky can come. Why didn't Sharky call in right now? But I don't know. I thought it was great. I don't know what the listeners thought or the viewers. But I thought it was good.
No, people are probably sit there. They love the story. Every time you guys come on and you talk about the stories that a lot of people don't remember.
Rob does that. I forget everything.
No, you got some.
I just thought people would be mad I didn't bring my dog.
Don't sell yourself.
Candy's coming next time.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, then if to cater to fair, we got to be careful if the dog's here. Okay, up against the clock, coming back with a sports ticker. Rob and Don, it was an awesome hour. I'll be right back.